Welcome to the Harmon-Meek Gallery in Naples, Florida, where we're featuring works by various American masters that have nuns as a subject matter. So the show is appropriately called A Show Like None Other. It will be on through January 11th. We have primarily a selection of two artists, Adolphe Dane and Robert Vickery, but then there are other artists such as Hunt Sloanham, Darrell Austin, Elliot OHara, Timothy Clark, and Virginia Dane. My name is William Meek. I own the Harmon-Meek Gallery in Naples, Florida, and we have an exhibition like none other that's going to be on through January 11th. And one of the artists featured in the exhibition is the American master Robert Vickery. He was known for his paintings of nuns, particularly the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul. Starting about 1949, he did his first nun painting and carried forward right up until he passed away, just a little bit before his major retrospective at the Boca Raton Museum in April of 2011. Here we have examples of his nun paintings dating probably in the last 15 years. There's not too many left in the estate. Actually, there's only about 8 or 9 paintings of nuns in the estate still. And in 2002, the art critic and author Donald Miller wrote this book of Robert Vickery's nun paintings, Creatures of the Spirit. And we do have some copies of this book available. And also, Dr. Philip Eliasoff of Fairfield University in Connecticut published this major monograph about 3 years ago of the magic realism of Robert Vickery. So Vickery was perhaps best known as one of the leading practitioners of the egg tempera medium, starting in about 1951. Actually, his work ran counter to abstract expressionism, but he does have some unique situations in that he was never without a New York City gallery for 50 straight years, a record that I don't too many artists have ever achieved that, particularly since 1951 was the very year that abstract expressionism was launched in New York. So for him to have actually had his first show in 1952 and had the Whitney Museum purchase one of his paintings in 1951 is really quite remarkable. And for 25 years he was represented by Midtown Galleries, and then Herschel and Adler Galleries represented him for a few years, then Kennedy Galleries and ACA Galleries. Finally, Gerald Wunderlich showed his work. And so up until 2001, he had literally 50 years showing in New York City. And as soon as one gallery quit showing him, he'd be picked up by another gallery. But the egg tempera paintings are truly remarkable works of art. And these are some of the last ones remaining in the estate. And I think they're very special. Now, these are two paintings by an artist that you don't usually associate with nuns, Richard Siegelman. He was on the beach of Naples, Florida in March, and he wasn't really getting any inspiration, and all of a sudden these three nuns came across his vantage point, and he quickly did some sketches of them, and as a result we have probably the only paintings Richard Siegelman has ever done of nuns. And we didn't know about these paintings when we set up the exhibition, and he got our season schedule and saw that we were doing the show of like none other, and he said, well, you know, I have a couple of paintings by nuns, and so he sent them down, and we were quite pleased to include them in the exhibition. Hi, this is William Meek at the Harmon-Meek Gallery in Naples, Florida. Our show like none other will be on through January 11th, featuring paintings by a number of American masters. We've already discussed Robert Vickery, and now we're going to go on to another artist that has quite a representation in this exhibition, and that's Adolphe Dane, who lived in 1995 to 1968. He was first and foremost a lithographer, and he also did many drawings. And on this particular wall here, we have exclusively drawings and lithographs done starting about 1920. We actually had his third, fourth, and fifth lithograph done about 1920. Very rare lithographs done in very small editions. And 1987, his 635 lithographs and a few other etchings were included in this book, The Prints of Adolphe Dane, a Catalogue Raisonné, published by the Minnesota Historical Society in St. Paul. And this is a good text to figure out exactly what Adolphe Dane print you have if you're collecting them. We do have some interesting pieces like this piece called Sisters, in which he actually had, the first one was done in 1927, and these two look very similar, but they're not. In 1927, this stone cracked, and only a few proofs exist, including this one. A year later, he did a somewhat similar lithograph of Sisters, but the only way you could get this particular print is if you bought the entire Paris folio of 10 lithographs of different scenes, of different images of what he was creating in Paris. And the only reason why this one is available singly is because it's actually an artist proof. So aside from the addition of 50, there were a few artist proofs done of each of the 10 lithographs. We also have some very early drawings, and the drawings were featured in a book in 1971, Adolphe Dane's drawings by the University of Missouri Press. Very fine publication. And then Adolphe Dane published this book in 1950, How to Draw and Print Lithographs. So he was very confident with this particular medium, and it carried him through the Depression. Actually, in some cases, some of these prints were actually part of his Adolphe Dane Print Club, which he would do 100 prints, or Associated American Artists. He would do 100 prints for them. And in those cases, there are still more of those editions remaining. But that's how he survived during the Depression. He was selling prints for $5 a piece. The medium that he's probably most widely known for, that of watercolor, he didn't start doing watercolors until 1937. And we do have one casein tempera in the exhibition, which was done about 1949. And 1948 is when he started doing casein temperas. So I hope you'll come and see the exhibition. There is a lot of humor in Adolphe Dane's work. Welcome to the Harmon-Meek Gallery in Naples, Florida, where we're featuring the works of OHara. He was a very famous watercolorist from the early 20s until his death in 1968. And here we have a selection of works that tie in with our featured exhibition, a show like none other, of nuns. We decided that nuns needed some churches to go to, so we put them in this special room. And these are works from all around the world, dating from about 1925 till into the 1960s. Works of Spain and Germany and Mexico, France, Norway, Madeira, Italy, Peru, Chile, and we even have one from Russia, and also Switzerland and England. The piece from Russia was done in 1929. He was the first artist allowed to paint freely inside of the Soviet Union 11 years after their revolution. And very few of these paintings are still in existence. Many of them were sold for the Russian war relief effort in a one-man show that OHara had in Washington, D.C. in 1942.